Sleep deprivation death. Can insomnia reduce your life in half? Well, hey, it's Coach Vukan, and today this is the question I want to explore with you. Imagine that you could live up to 100 years, but what if bad sleep and insomnia and sleep deprivation caused you, instead of 100 years, it removed 50 years of your life? Well, is that possible, and how could insomnia do that? That is exactly what you and me are going to explore today, so let's get started. So on our agenda for today, first I'm gonna share with you a story, our next story inside the sleep series, as it relates to sleep deprivation death and how it and whether or not it can reduce somebody's life in half. And then second, we're gonna do three things. This is the first one. Second, we're gonna explore a little bit more in depth how insomnia reflects to your health. And finally, I'm gonna give you a preview of what's coming up next on sleep. So let's get started. Today we're starting off with Richard. Last time, and let me just check where we are at. Yes, I have an interesting question before we begin today's story. Another interesting question. So, imagine that somebody you really love had insomnia. Somebody very close to you, somebody you care about. So, they had insomnia. Imagine that you could wave a magic wand and their insomnia would disappear, but you would get their insomnia in their place. So either the person that you really love and really care about has insomnia, or you get it. Them or you. What would you do? Comment down below. What would you do in that situation? Well, Richard, one of our main characters in the sleep series, he's faced with that exact situation right now. He's sitting in his office on a white couch next to a wisest, the bringer of bad sleep and insomnia and misery and despair, and she's showing him on her iPad, on her magical iPad that shows the future. She's showing him his future, and in that future Richard is seeing that if he saves his daughter from bad sleep, he's going to get that bad sleep himself. So now Wisest is asking him, what are you going to choose? Your daughter or you? And Richard is taking a deep breath and he says, I choose my daughter. I'm going to save her. And in that moment, Wisest, she smiled. She did not give up. No. She took her iPad from Richard's hands. She took her with her dark blue nails. She scratched that iPad. So the hairs on Richard's hands, they just went up. And as it is, she gave the iPad back. And in that iPad, now there was a new image of Richard. And he was 5 years older. He was in that office again. He was sitting there right on his couch, and the secretary came in. So again, just so to make sure that you are following this, Richard is sitting on his couch and he's looking at a magical device that shows him his future, where he sees himself sitting on that couch that he's sitting right now. Inception much? Yeah, you can say that. So we're seeing all of that, and in that image the Richard secretary comes in and she asks him, hey boss, do you want some coffee? And Richard, he turns very, very slowly to her and he stutters. He said, coffee? Yes, well, what coffee would you like? And he stutters once again. He says, black coffee. At that, his secretary, she gets very uncomfortable because she's been working for Richard for the past 2 years and she had never heard him stutter before. So what's going on? Why he's stuttering? She does not know, but she goes. And Richard, right now, he's also confused about what's going on, but he does not have time to ask questions because otherwise she gets her magical mirror back. She scratches it again even louder this time, hands it back to Richard. And now he sees a new image of himself. He's back at his house this time, and he's sitting in his kitchen and he hears a doorbell ringing. He goes up to his door, opens the door, and he's surprised to see his sister there standing right beside him. As I'm standing right beside you watching me, he sees his sister in that image and in that door frame inside the image. And he asks her, what's going on? They haven't seen each other in 2 years. What is she doing there, right? Imagine somebody you hadn't seen, a good friend, or maybe even a relative, you hadn't seen them in 2 years, and they suddenly appear in your front door, just knocking on your door or singling the jingle bell on your door, whatever you have. That's pretty weird, right? What is going on? Well, that is what she told Richard. She told him that she was in town and that last night, just 24 hours ago, she had called him and she had told him that she was coming over. How could he have forgotten that? And she also asked him, as Richard was kind of starting to get a little bit confused of what's going on, she also asked him, why does he look so sleep deprived? And why is he stuttering? Yeah, Richard went over, real Richard, or right now Richard went over to Owises wanting to ask her, but he did not get a chance. Owises took her magical device back. She scratched the screen of it for the third time, handed it back to Richard, and now Richard was in his kitchen one more time. And this time he was surrounded with people. On the kitchen table there was a large turkey. There were steaming hot potatoes and vegetables and other delicious things. And there were also many people. There were 10 people at Richard's table. And Richard, however, on that image, he did not look satisfied and comfortable. He instead looked startled. He suddenly jumped up and he said, what's going on? Who are you people? And they said they were his family. And they told him that it's all right and that he's been having dementia for the last 5 years. At that, real Richard, his eyes widened, wide as the bottom of teacups. He was just 45 years old in that image, and he had dementia? Owises told him, that is correct. If you tell your daughter, Julia, if you try to save her from her bad sleep, this is your future. So, what is Richard gonna do now? Is he still gonna be willing to save his daughter Julia? Well, before we go to that, let's go back to the original question that I posted at the beginning. Sleep deprivation, death. Can insomnia reduce? Actually, I have it right here. These two, remember them? Can insomnia actually reduce your life in half? Well, here's what insomnia does. Insomnia does 3 very specific things that most people don't know about. First of all, it kills brain cells. The more nights you don't sleep, the more brains you lose. Second, it increases your chance of falling into brain-related diseases like dementia, and it also increases your chance of other health issues like cancer and cardiovascular diseases and an earlier heart attack, which obviously can all cause an earlier death. Halving your life. it's kind of serious. To me, insomnia is like a bomb, a brain cell bomb. The more you don't sleep, the more of your brain cells explode and the more brain damage it causes. As a result, that is why Richard right now has developed dementia. That is why a lot of people develop dementia themselves. Insomnia causes that. Now you might say to yourself, that's not fair, and you would be right. It wouldn't be fair at all if we couldn't do anything about it. The good news is there is definitely something that we can do about it. What I found the best way to protect yourself against sleep is by becoming what I call a power man. A power man is somebody like Superman. Bombs don't work on him. And even more important, a power man is somebody who sleeps and rests well at night when the lights go out, and let me turn them back on right now. So, power man. A power man is somebody, again, who he sleeps well at night, he rests well, so that during the day he's beaming with energy, with magnetism, with power. That is who a power man is. But that being said, becoming one is not easy. It is definitely not easy. It involves very specific exercises that I've developed myself. They are uncomfortable, they are painful at the beginning, and they're kind of hard to do. So why would you want to do them? They're not for everybody, for sure. Most people I know they wouldn't want to experience even a little bit of discomfort, let alone pain. So again, it's not for everybody, but if you are willing to experience a little bit of pain and discomfort, I'll leave some info down in the description about how I became what I call a power man myself, how I protected my sleep so that you can protect your sleep as well. Now, that being said, going back to Richard, what do you think is gonna happen to him? What do you think is gonna happen to Richard now? Last time we saw him, it was simply a few bad nights. He would save his daughter. Yeah, he would experience a few bad nights, but it wasn't the end of the world. Now he was facing dementia. So what is he gonna do? Is he going to go in and save his daughter all in? Or would he save himself? Comment down below. What would you do in his shoes? That is what we're gonna find out. So, thank you. Oh, before I reveal what's coming up next in our next episode, I wanna thank you for hanging out with me today. I had a good time with you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you very, very soon for our next episode, which is, let me just check this right now. We're filming episode 6, season 2, and then episode 7 coming up on December 13th. So, you're already subscribed, so make sure you hit the notification bell, or if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and then you click the notification bell down below so that you get notified as soon as our next episode comes up. And in this one, let me see, I had something interesting prepared, I believe, for next time. Oh yes, so imagine that the wisest, the bringer of bad sleep and insomnia and misery and despair, she came to you and she offered you a deal. She came with a black suitcase to you, she handed you that black suitcase, and as you opened it, you saw that inside there was $1 million dollars in stacked bills. What would you do? What would you do with them? She told you you could do anything. You could buy 5 Ferraris or 5 Lamborghinis. You could buy yourself a ticket where you could go to anywhere in the world, like one of those first class tickets where you buy them one time and you can travel in Asia and Europe and America for the rest of your life for free in first class. So you could buy that, or maybe you can even buy yourself a mansion at the beach so that during the day you can take long walks at the beach, and at the night time you can go in your jacuzzi and have your body rest so that you sleep even better at night. What would you do with $1 million? I'm kind of curious. Comment down below that as well. And actually, more important, so let's say your wisest, she gave you that opportunity to get a suitcase with $1 million, but the catch is you would have to work day and night shifts. So 3 days from Monday till Wednesday you would have to work during the day, and then from Thursday till Saturday including, you would have to work nighttime, which obviously working night shifts significantly increases your risk of falling into insomnia. So what would you choose? Would you get $1 million but risk falling into insomnia? Comment down below, I'm curious to know. And tune in next time when one of our characters will be faced with a very, very similar decision to make. So, thank you again for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you very, very soon. December 13th, we continue with sleep. And there are some big things coming up also. Stay tuned for that as well. I'll see you soon.